What do you think is the only requirement for worshiping Allah, guys? The only requirement for you to worship Allah is to be alive. See, that's the most powerful thing about Islam. Like, it doesn't matter, like, you don't need any requirement, like, except for being alive. Like, the fact that you're alive right now is an opportunity, is a chance, is a blessing for you to worship Allah. See, if you were dead, you wouldn't be able to do that. But the fact that you're alive means that you have the freedom to worship Allah. See, that's the only requirement when it comes to worshiping Allah, right? Like, there is no like even if you've done the most heinous acts of existence, right? It's like you still are allowed to worship Allah. You still have the freedom to repent and to worship the creator of this universe. You guys understand? Like, it's so powerful. You know, I just realized that, like, worshiping Allah is actually very simple. Because the only requirement to worship Allah is just to be alive. Right? The fact that you're alive right now says you that Allah has given you an opportunity for you to worship Him. He's given you the opportunity for you to actually worship. It's insane. You know what I mean? Like, being alive is all you need, bro. Is all you need. Like, to be one with and submit towards the one singular point of this entire universe that flows everything back together. The only requirement for that is to be alive. Because you have to keep in mind that Allah is the singular point, the singular origin point, right, of this universe. It's basically submission under this point that also flows back to everything else simultaneously. Right? Because Allah is one and all at the same time. That's the thing with Allah. It's like He's one and He's all. Just like how one is all and all is one. Because not only is Allah one, right, but He's also all at the same time. Because He controls all, right? He's the one singular origin point that gathers everything in this universe to make all exist. He's the one that makes everything exist, right? So you are literally submitting yourself towards the one and the all. He's one and all at the same time, right? This is why God does not need words to explain. You don't need words to explain God, because God is literally just Him. He's just God. He's just the one origin river point that flows everything back into this universe together. Like, it's just, you know what I mean? And every creation in this dunya has the freedom to worship Allah, as long as they're alive. See, that's the thing, guys. Like, you know, this life is very limited. So we're not going to be here very long, which means that our time available for us to worship Allah is very limited. We're not going to be able to really, you know, worship Allah forever in this dunya. Because remember, this dunya is very limited, right? So Allah has given you a chance, a test. He tested you, right? If, you know, you're going to worship Him in this dunya, right? Now, there's some people that never worship Allah, right, in this dunya, right? But there's some that do, right? So you have to think of this life in this dunya as an opportunity for you to worship Allah, because that's like the only requirement for you to worship Him. That's the only requirement, guys. It's a very powerful way of thinking, and I think, you know, it allows you to be grateful for just being alive. You know, it doesn't matter if, like, everything in the universe, it doesn't matter if your life is crumbling, like, you're stripped, like, all your family, friends, kids are just killed. It doesn't matter if you're, like, homeless, you know, like, your health is deteriorated, you're starving to death in the desert. It doesn't matter. You still are allowed to worship Allah despite having everything in this dunya taken away from you. Because the only requirement for worshiping Allah is just to be alive.